Welcome back, everybody. It's Rudy with Alpha Investments. And I know I'm a little late to the party, everybody. I do apologize for that. A couple weeks ago, there was a lot of chitter and chatter around the internet about this lawsuit regarding some high-end collectors in the world of Magic the Gathering. I think they were collectors, investors, something like that. So I wanted to kind of get around to addressing and discussing this topic with this $177,000 lawsuit that apparently was filed. And I don't really know either party or the details involved, but I at least want to discuss the overall premises of it and what I think the bigger takeaway is, which is going to be, moving forward, I expect to see a lot more things along these lines. I think that's going to be the bigger takeaway to discuss today, that, as the value in the investors and the collectors and the value of the old cards continue to climb, just like comic books and other rare coins and collectibles, there's going to be a lot more legal things than he said, she said, because the dollar amount's going to get bigger and bigger. So today, we're going to start off with a simple thing. We're going to start off with, so I'm going to read everybody kind of the basic thing. It's all public information. I'll put a link. You can read it online. Hell, you can even pull the court document if you want to read the actual case, if you're really that bored. But long story short, pretty much as a New Jersey resident is suing a gentleman by the name of a Brian Nicenti, I apologize if I got that wrong, and 5 other John Does in the case. A Pennsylvania collector, I guess, citing, this gentleman's being sued, citing alleged breach of contract, fraud, unjust enrichment, in other words, making extra money. A gentleman by the name of Michael Ruggiero, sorry, I apologize if I messed that up, filed a complaint in July and against the defendants, alleging that they breached the contract, which was good faith and fair dealings. The plaintiff alleges that he suffered from a significant financial loss and the loss of irreplaceable Magic the Gathering playing cards. In other words, he must have, we're talking probably ABU cards, 4 Horsemen sets, power cards, graded cards, probably Power 9, a lot of really high-end, probably Arabian Nights, Antiquities, Legends type stuff. This is what I would assume in this type of thing. So yeah, as a result, he suffered a big loss from wrongful conduct from the defendant. The plaintiff alleges that the defendant schemed to sell the cards at a higher price to other people, even though they had a contract already. So he also alleges the defendant agreed to sell his rare card collection for a total contract price of $177,000 payable in 3 years, with a request for $70,000 due in the first year. So the plaintiff alleges that Brian Nicenti, I think it's pronounced, pretty much backed out of the contract and refunded the plaintiff $40,000, which is what he had paid him so far. He gave him the money back of the first chunk of the money, I guess. Consequently, the plaintiff is upset and seeks to enforce terms of the contract and to purchase this rare one-of-a-kind collection. So, without going any further, that's kind of that's the general information, everybody. So first things first, this is what I hear. This is a bit, as Magic cards get more expensive. I Googled these people's names. I guess the Brian Nicenti guy is a very big guy in the online Facebook, social media world, and some other high-end groups. I tried clicking on some of them. Obviously, I don't have a Facebook account. It asked me to log in. They're private. I don't have any access. So, and then the other gentleman is also a similar situation. So, from what I gather, it sounds like they made a deal to sell these expensive cards for $177,000. Pretty much the gentleman made the first few payments over a 3-year payment plan, and I guess at the beginning they paid a little bit of it. And what sounds like, at least in my opinion, it looks like maybe the cards spiked so much in value because in 2017 everything skyrocketed that I don't know if the other party decided they can make 3 times the money. I'm not sure. I have no idea what's going on with it. But in my opinion, it looks weird. I don't know. I'm sure there's a ton of he said, she said, emails back and forth. God knows all the details. Other people can deal with that. So the biggest thing everyone needs to think about is when you do any form of payment plans, and whether it's with a broker or just direct party to party, think about this, everybody. If Rudy's trying to sell a $100,000 collection to Timmy's Emporium, and Timmy's Emporium says, Rudy, I can only pay you $20,000 a year for the next 5 years. I say, that's fine. Give me $20,000 now, then the next 4 years, give me another $20,000 each year. And then I'll pay you your $100,000. So but see, the risky part about dealing with this thing with reserve list cards, this is what stands out to me, is that look what happened in 2017. The reserve list cards in the Power 9, the Alpha Beta Unlimited, Arabian Nights skyrocketed in value. So if I have this $100,000 collection, I'm trying to sell to Timmy's Emporium, and in a year from now, that $100,000 collection goes to $500,000 or $1 million. I really don't want to honor Timmy's Emporium for the next 4 years to this little $20,000 payments when it's like worth $1 million now, when the price doubles or triples. So that's where you run into weird things when you get into payment plans. I've seen similar things. It's very common in the real estate world when you have like these rent to own for real estate properties and you have a lot of payment plans. It just investors and a lot of shady things in the real estate and as far as Wall Street. So this is the first I've heard of it in the Magic the Gathering world. I don't know if this is just a rare, bizarre scenario or if this stuff has happened more than we know of with just different people all over the world. We just haven't heard about it. But again, as these prices get more expensive, the more money we start dealing with, people are going to get more fidgety. They're going to get more sensitive because we're dealing with lots of money here. So I don't really know who's at fault with this. The deal fell apart. I don't know if one party didn't pay his payment in time. If the other party had other people that just said, dude, I'll give you 4 times the amount. And he was like, oh shit, we got to make more money. We don't really know. I don't know the people. I can't get any information. I really just wanted to make a video talking about that. The overall thing is we now have like lawsuits in the Magic world because of the amount of money involved. That's the most important thing for everybody to realize versus the actual lawsuit this time. Because this lawsuit's probably going to go on for years. I wouldn't unless they settle out of court. So I do think we're going to see more of this moving forward. And I just want everybody to be aware of that when you buy and sell collections, you need to be very, very careful. If you're going to do it yourself, you're going to hire a broker or a company to kind of go through them. Or like another video I have coming out probably in the next few days here is I have another video where a gentleman had his $100,000 collection on consignment with a Magic the Gathering store. And guess what? That Magic store burned down. Like literally like caught on fire, flood, like everything got wrecked. So what happens to this guy's collection where some of it's sold and he got paid, the rest of it's destroyed? The owner says his insurance isn't going to cover it. And you get into this whole other thing. Then what are you going to do? Sue the guy who's had your cars on consignment, but now his business is burned down. He lost everything. What are you going to do? Sue a guy who's already lost everything? Even if you win, what are you going to get out of it? So, and even then, when you come to Magic cards, you're dealing with that unregistered asset. You're dealing with that. It's very difficult for the court to kind of, let me give everyone an example on this. So if we're dealing with like a residential, let's say single family home, residential real estate, not commercial, not condos, not multifamily, single family home. So let's say there's a dispute between me and Timmy, okay? And Timmy is renting the house from Rudy. And I say, Timmy, you're late on your rent, and I'm gonna evict you. And Timmy says, no, I paid you all the rent. And I've got receipts. I paid you, Rudy. And I say, okay, Timmy, okay. But guess what? I'm a scumbag, and I'm gonna evict you anyways and pretend like you didn't pay me. I'm gonna try to hose you. See, now in a scenario like that, I know it's kind of silly, but you have something very finite. You have a paper trail. You have an asset involved. It's like if you don't pay your mortgage to the bank, they can foreclose on the house because it's a registered asset. Now, when you deal with collectibles like Magic cards and things, it's going to be very difficult to try to, recover the actual cards themselves. Because think about it. If Timmy sold all his modern cards and made like 10 grand, and he's using that money to buy into another investment, well, if the cards he sold skyrocketed in value, he lost out on that opportunity. And then if he didn't get the deal, he lost out on that opportunity. So he gets hit on both sides. You kind of have a double gap. And that gap is that loss of money and potential profit on both sides of the transaction. So you run into very complicated things. And this goes on all the time in the world of real estate. It goes on in finance, investing, commercial lines of credit, private equity happens all the time. Businesses, share of ownership, people fight and complain about who owns 30%, 50%, 10% of a business. Then the company goes public. There's disputes on the rights. Happens all the time. But I feel like this is kind of like a new era or direction for like trading cards and Magic. And I think this isn't going to be the first lawsuit. I think we're going to hear more lawsuits in the future. I don't know if it's going to be involved with the same Brian Nassetti and a Michael Ruggiero. Probably won't be the same people, but chances are moving forward, there's going to be more people involved. And there's going to be more lawsuits because we're dealing with lots of money, everybody. So, I guess as far as kind of what I want to kind of comment is whenever people are going to be involved with buying or selling collections moving forward, just make sure you're either A, going to do it on your own, or B, if you're going to work with a broker or a store or a buy list or anything in general to actually sell it, you better trust in, 100%, and make sure they have the money, that it's ironclad, the image, the loyalty, because, I mean, these two people involved in this, I mean, the first thing I did was I type in someone's name after something like that. All you're going to get is like the lawsuit and paperwork, probably for the end of time until something else comes up. So, it really can wreck someone's reputation if it's like a false flag thing, if it's not real, if it's not. So, I mean, it needs to be really legitimate. So, because, it affects reputation, it affects people. So, I really wanted to kind of comment on it. I know everybody, I'm a little late to this type of thing. Everybody talked about it a couple weeks ago, but like I said, with all the Wizards news, and I still got to do my Amazon discussion on the video and everything, and all these things happening. Then you've got this whole new, was it not even the Pro Tour, like the World Championship strike. There's all these problems in the world of Magic. I'm just trying to get through it all, so I'm running a little bit behind everybody. But like I said, I wanted to make just a short video. I want to talk to everybody and just say, just be very careful, be aware, make sure you trust your counterparty, make sure you've really thought everything through, because again, the more money that's involved in this stuff, the more people out there that may not have your best interest at heart, and you got to be very careful about that. So, Rudy with Alpha Investments, if anybody's had similar stories or other things that's happened that's not public, send me a message below or put a comment, or AlphainvestmentsLLC@gmail.com. I'd like to hear stories or kind of reactions, or people familiar with these individuals, or people familiar with other stories that I would like to, we can kind of talk about and share what went wrong, what went right. So that's all I really got. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope everybody learned something today. And other than that, you guys have a great day.